Here we go. I told you it was coming. This week we learned all about special angle pairs, and if you're having trouble remembering them, take a few minutes and pause the video to refresh your memory about vertical angles, complementary angles, and supplementary angles. In the meantime, though, we're going to move on. Our job this week is to use what we know about these special angle pairs and solve for the missing angle using algebra. So, for example, in this picture, we can see that there are vertical angles here and here. We know vertical angles are congruent to each other. Remember, congruent means equal in measure or size. So this angle is 65. Now I'm going to just change the color here for a second. Oops, I guess I'm not. How about this? If you look at these two angles, they should add up to 180 because they make a straight line or a straight angle. So 65 plus x, that's an x, gives me 180. Okay, now to get x alone, I have to subtract 65 from both sides. X equals 115 degrees. Okay, so we know this angle is 115 degrees. We know this angle, because it was vertical, is 65 degrees. Now here's another interesting point. These two angles, x and z, are also vertical to each other. So x and z are congruent, so it's 115 degrees. Awesome. All right, let's review a few more. It says find the measure of these missing angles, and I'm going to start with the easy one. I noticed that z uses this line, and it uses this line. Is there any other angle that share the same two lines? Yeah, it's 52. So 52 and z are the same measurement. They're vertical. So z is 52 degrees. Okay. Now S, I wish I could use a different color. I don't think I can. S and 52 degrees make a straight angle. So if I take 180 and I subtract 52, I have that missing angle, which should be 128 degrees. All right, we've got three of them. Oh, look at this. These two angles, the x and the 52, make a right angle. So those are complementary. And if I take 90 and I subtract 52, that should give me, let's see, borrowing from this, 38 degrees. All right, we've got this so far. Now all three of these, x, y, and z, create a straight angle. See that picture right there? So if I have 38 and I have 52 plus y, I don't know the angle measure for y, but I know all three of those will add up to 180 degrees because they're supplementary. 38 and 52 should give me 90 degrees. 90 plus y gives me 180 degrees. I bet you can do this right in your head. Yeah, y equals 90 degrees. We didn't have to show the work on that one. We should, but we're not going to because of timing. Let's pause the video and move on. Now let's try some other problems. What if we had a problem like this? It says find the measure of the missing angles. I'll use orange this time. Do you notice that these two angles are completely opposite? They're not adjacent. They don't share the same side. They're not right next to each other. But they do share the same lines that make them their angles. So they must be vertical. That means 2x plus 1 equals 43. Because they're equal to each other, vertical angles are always equal. So now I just have a two-step equation that I'm going to solve just like we used to do. Remember, we always add and subtract first. So I'm going to subtract 1 here, and I'll subtract 1 from the other side. If you forgot how to do that, sometimes we drew a ladder just to see the two different sides. Now I have two x's. I always bring my equal sign down. I know you guys like to forget that. And 43 minus 1 is 42. Okay. Now, what do I need to do to get x alone? I need to divide by 2. And whatever I do to the left side, I have to do to the right side. So I have x equals 21. So in this case, we know that x is 21 degrees. And if I substituted 21 in for x, and I checked to make sure it worked out to be the same as the other angle, 2 times 21 is 42. 42 plus 1? Yep, you got it. It is 43. Okay, let's pause and go to the next one. This is the same problem as the last one, except that these are not vertical. These two angles are supplementary because they add up and create together a straight angle. So that means 43 plus 2x plus 1 make a total of 180 degrees. So before I can start solving for x, I should look for anything that I can combine. So when whoops, my ladder, there's my ladder. On the left side of the ladder, I see a constant of 43 and I see a constant of 1. I can combine those like terms. 43 plus 1 is 44. I haven't done anything with the 2x yet, so I'm going to write that next. Write my equal sign, and then bring down the 180. Now I just have a simple two-step equation. Always combine the like things first. So it looks like this is a constant, 180 is a constant, 44 is a constant. And the only thing I can do is take the 44 from the left side and move it to the right side. I do that by subtracting 44 here. And if I subtract on the left, I have to subtract on the right. And we have 2x equals 136. And I divide both sides by 2. Bam. And that means x equals, oh, let's see, 2 divides 13 6 times with a remainder of 1. It becomes 16. That'll be 68. So now what we have to figure out if this is going to work out. Let's substitute 68 in here for x. So 2 times 68 plus 1. All right, so 2 times 68 we've decided is 136. 136 plus 1 is 137. Now if this angle is 137, and we know this angle already is 43, those two angles should add up to 180 degrees, and they do. Make sure you have this. These get a little trickier looking. They're still the same, but these two angles, you're going to have to do a little detective work here. Okay, do I see a straight line? No, I don't. Do I see opposite angles? No, I do not. These two angles are touching each other. I do notice, though, that they create a 90-degree angle, so they must be complementary. So that must mean that 74 plus 2 parentheses x minus 4 equals 90. By the way, never assume that just the way the angle looks that it's to scale, because these often are not, especially my drawings. So I have 74. Now, if you remember from way back, we have to distribute the 2 in everything in the parentheses. So we should end up with 2x. Now 2 times 4 is 8. There's a minus sign in the middle, so we put that in there. This equals 90. Okay, we're getting there. Now, I'm going to draw my ladder because now I have to get to the point where I'm solving or thinking about solving. Is there anything else I can do to simplify this? There is. I have a 74 and I have a negative 8. 74 and negative 8 should give me 66. So I have 66 plus 2x equals 90. Okay, almost there. So I need to combine anything that's the same, and by combining these two, 66 is on the left side, 90 is on the right side. So I have to do the opposite by subtracting 66. Boy, that writing of mine is pretty horrendous. And when I get that done, I have 2x equals 90 minus 66 should give me, well, let's just check this to make sure I'm doing this right. I'm borrowing. 10 minus 6 is 4. 8 minus 6 is 2. Now I'm dividing both sides by 2. And x gives me 12. Okay, very quickly, let's just check this. If I substitute 12 in here for x, (12 minus 4 is 8. Oops. Yeah, there we go. It's very slow all of a sudden. 8 times 2 is 16. If I add 16 and 74, would I get 90? Yes, I would. So we did it right. All right, you're up next. You're going to try this problem, and you're going to have to answer the question in Edpuzzle, so make sure you know what you're doing. Check your work against mine. Make sure that you have the same thing and that it makes sense to you. When I solved for x, I had 35. I had to substitute the 35 way over in here for x. 2 times 35 is 70 degrees. Now here's another check. What's 70 plus 20? You got it. It's 90 degrees. I know that's right because these two angles create a complementary angle. Try the last one. For the last problem, here is my work. These two angles are vertical, so they're equal to each other. I set them equal. I solved for x, and I got x equals 25. When I substituted the 25 in for x, it says 25 plus 30 is 55, and that's exactly what we should have gotten. I hope you understood this. If not, be prepared to ask some questions. Good luck.